anybody can do this at this level if they want to work hard enough at it. We ride a little hotter bred horse, and they are a little higher strung, and usually, you know, a really good barrel horse won't do a lot of cattle events. They usually aren't the horses that you see people sitting around visiting on, so they are a little hotter horse. I know it used to have the old stigma at the rodeo years ago. It was when you went to the beer stand or to the bathroom when they had the barrel race. I mean, that was kind of the joke amongst the cowboys, but we're going back 10 or 15 years.
The barrel racing world didn't really expand till about 10 years ago. I mean, it's just really expanded, and the big 40 barrel races, and from there it's just gone crazy. I mean, there's people, barrel races all the time.
The tradition of rodeo is glamour, and I think that that is carried down to the barrel racers. So a lot of it is pride and the tradition of the sport. It's just no different than golf. You know, sure, it's more comfortable to play golf in a t-shirt and shorts, but the rules say, and the etiquette of the sport says, a collared shirt or now the mock turtlenecks and long pants for the players.
What's taken it out of the joke status is the amount of money that is up, and not just at rodeos, but at other large barrel races every weekend around the United States, and sometimes not too far of a traveling distance. There's a lot of money you can win with the barrel horse. For a long time, the barrel racing wasn't an equal money event in rodeo. It wasn't required at all the major rodeos and the tour events and things like that. So it's evolving, it's coming along, it's been there all along, but the status and the stature of it are raised up a lot. And I think now when you know that you go into the national finals, and I would say probably every year for the last 10 years, one of the top 3 money earners at the national finals has been a barrel racer, that you can't overlook that kind of image for the sport.
The great thing about the PRCA and the WPRA is that they have acknowledged, the PRCA has, that the barrel race is such an easy event to sell to first-time rodeo fans.
It's going to come around. It's not behind by a huge margin, but there are things we'd definitely like to improve about it. But the rodeo is going to do what sells. We go right before the bull riding for a reason.
My father steer roped, and so I'd go with him to some of the rodeos. When I got out of high school, I was 18 and decided to try to make it to the finals. And I asked my dad if I could quit college to go down the road, and he talked me into staying in college. I didn't go back to school the next year, and this is what I do full-time now.
Well, it was always a childhood dream. I've had a pony since I was 8 years old. I've done everything. I've done the barrel racing, the Western pleasure, the English, done it all, and the fairest of them all, without the most politics, was barrel racing. It's you against a clock versus how much silver you have or the breed of your horse, in the show pen. And the rodeo was the one thing I went back to.
No, you know why? Because I'm a horse girl. I've had horses all my life. My dad had a stable, so I've been on horses since day one. And
I used to ride racehorses. I galloped racehorses at the tracks and stuff, and so I don't think it makes a difference where you're from. And I feel confident on a horse. I know I can ride, you know, it's not like wondering whether I'm going to stay on or not. I just fell off at a rodeo, but my horse was working and he turned out from underneath me. So it happens, and I guarantee if you don't fall off a horse a few times, you haven't rode many horses.
I've been barrel racing since I was a child. I mean, I started when I was 8, 10 years old, and quit when I was about 18 to get my education and get a business going, and once I got that going, then I went back to barrel racing. And I started off jackpotting, and everybody's always looking for the bigger, better horse. You're always looking for the one that'll get you there. And I happened to get lucky and find one out of the newspaper.
I grew up in a family that ranched and rodeoed and everything else, and so I broke my arm the first time when I was 3, you know, falling off a horse, because I didn't think I needed to hang on. I thought I rode that well at 3, you know, so I've always had a family that gave me the confidence to tell me that I could do this if that's what I wanted to do. But barrel racing was just part of it. We grew up roping, goat tying, you know, every event you could do, you know, and we showed cattle, we did this and that, but then eventually you played basketball, all this other stuff. You just go into the one thing you like the most, and at this level, barrel racing is all that's available pretty much to women.
My rodeo career started when I was really young. My parents both rodeoed. My dad was a saddle bronc rider, my mom was a barrel racer, and they were my heroes, and I just grew up watching them compete. My dad was pretty much retired, but I was around a lot of his rodeo friends and heard the stories and saw the pictures and the trophies and saw my mom compete, and I knew that was what I wanted to do.
I have ridden forever. They had racehorses. I lived at the racetrack. I always rodeoed a little bit, but when I turned 16, I wanted to be a jockey because I'm not much of a spectator. I like to do it. And Dad thought racehorses were too dangerous, and so that did it. I mean, I'd always rodeoed, but I quit the racehorses completely and have rodeoed ever since.
I guess after rodeoing in Australia for about 10 years, I had pretty much won everything I could. And I won a trip to Los Angeles return for winning our biggest rodeo in Australia. So I flew over here in 2002 for 6 weeks, had a little look about, and I thought to myself, I think we have a big presumption at home that American rodeo is just way much bigger and better than us. Once I actually saw it for myself, with my own eyes, I thought, no, we're just as good as them, it's just it's a little harder for us to get here. I'll fly my horse over and see if I can compete with them. So I did. I tell you, it was the experience of a lifetime, but I did have no idea how long it would take her to acclimate. The flight was actually pretty good. I was so nervous, I mean like petrified. But she was probably more calm than I was. Like on the flight, I actually got to fly with them, I groomed. We had like 36 horses on from Australia to Los Angeles, and they let me stand in the box. They keep the planes really cool, really cold, so you had to wear jackets, and it keeps the horses pretty calm, and the only thing you've got to do is make sure they drink because they'll get fairly dehydrated. Like it took us 20 hours to fly. But they handle it well. They probably handle it better than people. They just stand there and look around, and when they take off, they kind of all pin their ears and lean forward, and when they land, they all get bug-eyed and keep their heads back, but it was pretty good.
Barrel racing is a real tough event for a horse to do, so they have to really enjoy what they do to do it well.